I started learning if I could reach out to a mom and help her be able to take care of her and then model it to her kids. I'm helping those kids, but I'm also not just helping that house. I'm helping generations after. I really believe moms specifically, like if we heal us, we heal everyone.
Welcome to Worthy Mother Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Hardy, a mom of two on a mission to help moms everywhere feel less alone. This is not a parenting podcast. Instead, it's a space for pushing back against societal expectations of perfection and embracing self-compassion in your motherhood journey. Let's get into it. Good morning, good afternoon. Hello to you whenever you are listening. Welcome to Worthy Mother Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about something that sounds simple, but I'm guessing it is probably challenging for most moms, including myself, to actually execute on, and that is pausing. And we have joining us for this conversation, Azia Whitted. She is a TEDx speaker, a coach, and the founder of Pause with Azia Ranea, where she partners with women to help them cultivate calm, prioritize their pause, and beat burnout. And, I am coming off a morning where drop off for both of my kids was really challenging. I had to make a phone call, finish getting ready all before getting on this call. Like, it was pretty much the best example of a hectic, chaotic morning as a mom. And not every morning is like that, but today definitely was. And I think that's very representative of the fact that even when we have things kind of under control for the most part, there's still a lot of chaos a lot of times in motherhood. Like, it's kind of hard to do away with that because of the nature of like raising children and how unpredictable they can be. And with that, then it's really important to talk about how we can like care for ourselves and make sure that we're taking the time we need to rest and recharge and just like exist without chaos at times, right? So I'm very excited to have this conversation. It is exactly what I am needing this morning of recording. So Azia, welcome to Worthy Mother Podcast. I am so happy to have you here. Can you just like introduce yourself and tell us about the work you do with moms?
Yes. Okay. So I'm also laughing because your morning actually sounds a lot like my morning. And so I will start off saying that even though I do this work, I'm in this space, I am just like every other mother who is listening, who will listen. I'm in the trenches just like you. Morning drop off for me looked a lot different today. And it was a little chaotic. So I had to practice what I preach. So I am a speaker, but I am a mom and I wear a lot of hats, but that is my favorite. With all the hats I wear, I love being a mom. I help women who are busy. Most of those are women who are juggling motherhood and businesses or other positions. They're not women who are just doing that one thing. We're all multi-layered. We're doing multiple things. Most of us all wear a lot of hats. But I'm helping them learn that it's okay to find space for themselves and what that looks like in a very practical way. This isn't just like another thing we have to add to our never ending to do list. This isn't something which you feel guilty about, but learning how to pause. It's what I do. And I love being able to share that. And it's a message that I feel like we all need, but we don't hear enough.
Yeah, I mean, 10 out of 10 agree with that. It is something that, like, with all that's going on, it can be hard to, like, think about, okay, how do I figure out how to pause? Because it just feels like one
Right.
more thing. Like, you don't have time for it. So I love
Yeah.
that the approach you take, like, I follow you on social media. You just have a way of speaking about this that makes sense. So I'm grateful you're here to share with us.
To not just be something where, because I have a background and I've worked in mindfulness, I don't want people to just think, okay, I have to practice mindfulness when I'm on a yoga mat or at a meditation retreat, or I have to have this long period of time. And so for me, my pause can look several different ways. And we'll probably talk about this, but I think a pause is very personal. For you, it may look one way. For me, it looks a certain way. For a mom with three kids and who's got babies, and it may look something different, but finding ways that you can do it every day. But it can be small little things, like little resets of your day, and knowing that you don't have to like fully stop, because we all are doing so many things, but you still have to like find that time, and looking at it as a way, like it's a mindset. It's not just a thing to do. It's just how I approach my day, how I approach my to-do list, how I approach raising my kids. Thinking about yourself and putting yourself on that list, and not necessarily last, but just somewhere on your list, like knowing I need to be there too, because I have to be healthy and I have to check in with myself so that I can be there for my kiddos.
Yeah. I'm curious what brought you to working with moms particularly? I know you work with a
Yeah.
lot of busy women, but like what is it about moms?
So for me, it's funny because that was never the intention. I love kids. So I have a background in dance education. I've always taught children, love babies. Like if you put me in a room, I'm gonna gravitate to the children first. And so when I first started like my work, I wanted to really focus on like finding ways for kids to find calm because coming out of the pandemic, they were all overwhelmed, they were anxious. And so I was doing yoga classes with kids and mindfulness movement. And then I realized, as great as it was for them to come and hang out with me for like 45 minutes to an hour, if they went back home and their mom was burned out, all of that we just did went out the window because they're with her all day, every day. So realizing, hey, if I could stop and get mom to like breathe and create that space. And then they're going to start to see it because I've got two kiddos. My daughter, our oldest is 15, our son is 7, almost 8. And so our son grew up watching me like really be intentional about my rest and my pausing. And so he automatically, the way he approaches different things and his emotions and his boundaries, those are different because he saw me model it. And so I started learning if I could reach out to a mom and help her be able to take care of her and then model it to her kids. I'm helping those kids, but I'm also not just helping that house. I'm helping generations after because mom shows to kids. Kids grow up learning how to regulate their emotions, how to create space for themselves. And then they have children and then they keep modeling. So it becomes a cycle versus just like that one kid for 45 minutes. And so I really believe moms specifically, like if we heal us, we heal everyone.
This comes up on this podcast quite frequently because we are talking so much about like taking care of the mother and what we can do to support ourselves and other moms. And like that piece right there, it like gives me chills every single time. Just the impacts it has when we do take time for ourselves.
It's like a ripple effect.
It's
It's
wild.
never just about us.
Hmm.
But if you think about what we're connected, it's not just, and it's even not just our children, it's our partners, our spouses, our coworkers, our business, all like whoever we're in business with, our communities. Like if you have a good like women really like we're holding everything up. And so
Hmm.
like we can be healthy. I'm like healthy moms raise healthy children raise healthy generations. And so it just keeps going.
Yeah. And there can be so much like mom guilt behind taking time for yourself, behind pausing, behind needing to do that. But when you can reframe it as like, it's not just impacting me in this positive way, it's impacting literally the world and future
Yeah.
generations. It's like that can help relieve some of that. Like, oh, it's selfish to focus on me when it's like, it's actually the furthest thing from.
Yeah, because you're giving back, and if you're healthy, then you can take care of the people around you
Yeah.
in a healthier way.
Yeah.
So you're really giving to them too.
Yeah. So, something that I'm always kind of navigating in my own mind is how, as individuals, there are so many things within our control, but there's also societal factors that make it really hard for us to put ourselves on the priority list or to take that
Right.
time for ourselves, right? Like, I think most of us can relate to that feeling like, well, how am I supposed to make time for myself when, like, quite literally the systems that I exist in don't allow for that. So I'm wondering if you could just speak to that because I think again there's like this radical responsibility we can take for ourselves but understanding the context we exist in with work and relationships and raising kids and all the expectations on moms it's like it can feel impossible to like do anything for ourselves. What are your thoughts on that?
I'll actually reference another one, and this was the podcast I was listening to like previous podcasts, and I can't remember your guest's name, but you guys were talking about self-care and how it's shown in the media or how it's shown on like line and how someone may feel guilty. Well, so if I say, hey, I took a bath today and that was my self-care, and someone's like, well, that's not self-care. I look at it as the same way because I don't want to guilt you because everyone's in a different position. If you have a mom who has 3 kids, single, infant, what she can do is completely different than a woman who maybe has 2 kids and they're empty nesting. They're both gone to college and a partner and free time. Like our worlds are completely different. We all are balancing different things. And so what I think about is really looking at One being very honest and real and realistic with what you have and what you're working with.
Mhm.
And knowing that in different seasons, your pause may look different. On different days, it may look different. And knowing that, but then also knowing I may not be able to control like all the factors that are happening out here, but I can control like me.
Yeah.
And that may look like my mindset, my reactions. The big thing is, okay, this is happening. All these things are coming at me, whether that's a bad day, whether that's stressors. Like we can't get rid of the stress. I would like it would be so great if we could just like it's gone. We can't do that, but I can actually like know how to respond to the stress.
Mhm.
And the reason I talk about a pause so much is because I like to work it in every day. So if I know these certain things about myself, I know going outside for a walk in the middle of my day helps me reset. Then when I have a really stressful morning, I need to prioritize that. And so knowing like I say having these things in a toolbox. So I'm going into my day. If something else is coming, I already know, okay, this is going to make me feel better. Hey, this is really stressful. Let me do this one thing, or I can do this right now. This is what I have control over. And so looking at it as not necessarily being helpless, but taking care of what you can control and actually having those things in place. So when you do have stressful moments or when you do have those chaotic days, hey, let me grab for this. Now, okay, this just really sucks. This is the situation. I can't do anything, but hey, maybe if you just take a deep breath. Maybe like that's all I can do. Maybe it's just call a friend. I am having an awful day. Talking through that, like sometimes those little things we forget, that is one, it may not be a big thing, but it can have a big impact. And so I think of shifting our mindset of, I can't take care of, because we want to solve all the problems.
Yeah.
But no, okay, I may not be able to solve the problem today, but can I at least smile? Can I at least find one thing to be grateful for? Can I get to the end of the day, be like, you know what? That's still over there, but I got through today. And just having that mindset shift and it can be hard. Like I will give you a real life story. And this is like happening right now. So my husband called me yesterday and was like, hey, one of the tires blew on our car on his car. And I was like, oh great. So now it's like our daughter's in high school, son's in elementary school. The times are completely different. I work in an office that is also like 30. So like all the things. And it's one of those things that's an inconvenience. I couldn't replace the tire in that moment. I couldn't like we're gonna have to wait no matter what. And yesterday, like he was frustrated, I was frustrated, but it took a moment of me, like I called out his friend and we were talking about it. And I was like, everybody's frustrated. And then having to be like, but at least we have another car. So we can still all get where we need to go. And it wasn't that I could fix that problem, but I could at least fix how I was looking at it. And
Yeah.
so I got home and I was like, okay, what can I do in the moment that'll get me in a better mood? So I went outside. I pulled up some leaves. He ran an errand and I just rode along with him. Like those little things is how we can combat everything else that's going against us. And then there are just some things we're just not going to solve today, and we have to choose joy. I really push the idea of even in those worst seasons, finding something that you can be grateful for and something that you can celebrate because sometimes just having joy can be its own resilience and resistance.
You said something like you may not be able to solve that problem, but you can look at it different. And I think that mindset is something that so many of us don't necessarily have. And it constantly then feels like we're failing. And I love that idea of like, there's a lot of things out of our control. There's a lot of
Yeah,
things that we may not be able to solve today. Maybe we can solve it eventually. And maybe it's just like out of our hands. We can't solve it. And that can suck. And that's okay. Like, it's not about like, toxic positivity making it feel
right.
like, oh,
Be very realistic.
cool. Yeah, cool. The
Yeah,
car blew a tire. Like, great. No, you're probably gonna be late to things. Like, there's things about it that aren't great. However, if we can reframe it to like, I can still go about my life. It may look different. It may not be as convenient. I may have to miss some things. I may be late to things, whatever. But
right.
like, that's the reality of the situation. And I'm not gonna tie my joy, my happiness, my whatever to this problem being solved immediately because it happened and it's not going to be solved immediately. So, like,
Right.
benefits no one to do that.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes we look at like this positivity and what happens is we're not being realistic. We're not really naming what's happening. And I believe in naming, like even with your emotions, like emotions aren't bad. Anger is not bad.
Mhm.
Sadness is, but it's when like we don't really name what it is. Because if I don't name it, then I can't move past it. I
Yeah.
can't manage it. I can't address it. So I can easily say, this sucks. I hate this happened. I don't want to deal with this. But I can also say, hey, well, okay, well, we can go do something else.
Yeah.
So for me, what that looked like, where well, we usually divide and conquer. We just got up really early this morning and I took both of them, but then it was fun. Like we listened to like the Trolls 3 soundtrack in the car and we sang and we were silly. And I got to working off like that was a really good moment. And if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have had it. Now, maybe tomorrow I'm like, I need to go and you need to go. I'm still going to be like, now I don't wish it happened, but like just fighting, even if it's just one moment. I think that's the way. And I think that's also part of a pause. Like my pause just as an activity is me setting boundaries. It is my mindset. Like all of that is part of what I think a pause is.
Okay, let's get into that. Let's dive into like what a pause actually looks like because you've mentioned some different things and I think sometimes when we're talking about like pausing, it's like, wait, you want me to just stop everything and just sit there? And that's not what
Yeah.
you're talking about. It might be what
No.
you're talking about. Like maybe that is what you need in that moment, but there's so much more to it. So, what exactly are you talking about when you're talking about a pause? What is
Okay.
that? You said it looks different for different people and different seasons. So, lay it out for us.
Okay, so to break it down to make it easy, it's like a full framework. And I was an English minor, so I love like alliteration. I love like breaking things out. And so a pause has 5 parts. First thing is like knowing that you are a priority. Like that mindset alone is the first thing because no matter what my schedule looks like, I'm not going to take time for myself if I don't think I'm a priority.
Hmm.
And so knowing your priority, knowing your needs matter, your rest matter, knowing that I need to be somewhere on that list. And then the second part is asking questions, checking in with ourselves, because especially as moms, we will get up, we'll go, we'll wake up the kids, we'll fix breakfast, we'll make dinner, like lunches, and we will be up and moving for 3 hours before like, hey, what do I need? How do I feel today? And so just that quick, what do I need? Do I need support today? How am I feeling? Is my tank a little empty? Like, what do I need to help me get through the day? And so it's asking questions, it's using the tools. And so the tools are really like those little activities. So that might be a walk, it might be getting that massage. It's those little bits of self care that you think of mostly with people, but I like to say there are ways to take care of myself and there are little moments of kindness to myself. Self care has got this bad rap of this external thing
Yeah.
versus sometimes self care can just be how I talk to myself, like the inner talk, my self talk. Am I affirming? Am I being negative? What am I thinking about? And so we're prioritizing, you're checking in and asking questions. You have these little activities we call tools, and then you're setting boundaries. Like that's also a big part of it. Like I'm trying to protect my energy. I know if I'm really exhausted and someone needs something, maybe today is my day I need to say no. And that can be hard. I think it's a learned skill. Some people have it. I'm a person who I had to work at it. I'm still working at it, but I'm learning that a good no is better than a bad yes. So, like, if I say yes to them, I'm saying no to myself. And so, learning that balance and then being mindful and not in the yoga meditation sense of mindfulness, but even the awareness
Hmm.
of noticing just the simple things like, hey, I want to be present right now. I don't want to be like with my kid. And sometimes there are moments when we just have a lot on our mind because we're moms and we're carrying a lot, but maybe I can just take that 5 minutes to really be present and say, hey, well, I need to go do this, but I'm going to come back and then I'm going to give you 30 minutes. And also knowing it's okay. Like our kids can carry that sometimes, like being able to tell them, hey, mommy needs 10 minutes to do this. And then I'll come back in on yours. Or mommy needs 5 minutes to just go hide in the pantry or in the closet. Just like I need 5. And so those are all the things that encompass that pause, but knowing what fills you up will help you know like what your pause looks like. So some days it might be me being quiet, but other days it might be me just calling and have a FaceTime date with my best friend who's like another state. So it those are those things that like refuel and replenish and refresh and pour back into me because as a mom, I'm constantly pouring out. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that framework. It's so clear. And I think any mom in any situation with any amount of time to spend on herself can take that and
Yeah.
really like use that idea of like, how do I build in time to prioritize myself and pour into myself, thinking of all these different factors.
Yeah, and it's totally and when I thought through it, I wanted it something where like you can find yourself in it in every situation. So like when I'm working with women, I like the first thing we do, I'm like, tell me what your day looks like. And they're like, oh, well, you just have to tell me how possible now. I want you to tell me exactly what your day looks like because there may be places like I'm not going to tell you to get up at 4 a.m. if I know you're working a full-time job and you have kids to take care of. Like that's just it doesn't make sense. But maybe like at lunch, you could take 5 minutes to do something, or tell me what you like to do, what makes you excited. That's what we need to find time for because it may not be, you may not want to go get a massage. That might not be your jam. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you want to take kickboxing class. Maybe you don't have time to go do that or the resources. Maybe you can find something like on YouTube. Like we get so caught up in like what it looks like that I feel like sometimes we forget it's really the just doing it. And we'll spend so much time to like, oh well, I can't go do this. Well, what can you do? Like
Hmm.
what do you have time for? Okay, you've got to, you only have 5 minutes. What can I get done in 5 minutes? Maybe I could just take 5 minutes to listen to my favorite song. Like that could like what happens on a bad day? Hear a song that you haven't heard in years and it takes you back and it lights you up. That could be your little moment of self-care. That could be your pause. But I don't think those are the things that are highlighted. That's not what is being glamorized by social media. So people don't think of it
Hmm.
as a self-care act or something as a pause.
Yeah, I think something that just as you're saying all of that, that's coming forward to me is how it really is so individualized too, because you said you could go take a kickboxing class, and for someone that may feel horribly like one more thing on their to-do
Yes.
list. But for somebody else, that actually may be the, like, for lack of a better word, escape from the craziness of the
Yeah.
day where they go and they get to like really tune into their body and like take that pause. They're not focused on mothering and work and all these things. They really got to like be mindful about their body. But again, for
Yeah.
someone else, that may not be the case. And so for anything, it's like trying what works,
Hmm.
really like exploring what is going to give me that sense of peace and calm and like a step away from everything that I'm dealing with on my plate right now and not
Right.
add to it.
Right. And not limit it to like, oh, it has to be like this quiet. It is a
Yeah.
reverence. Like it is my time. And so I do like, I see reverence in that, but it doesn't have to be quiet. I remember I spoke and it was a women's group. They're like, you are the most like energetic, like when I think mindfulness, I would never think like you. And I'm like, oh, well, that's unfortunate because, but it's always this idea of like, it has to be
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, like I sometimes just want to have a crazy like dance party to 90s music. Okay. And I feel good about it. And then there are times where I do want to go to my mat and I want to do a sequence. I'm not going to be there long. That's part of why the pause started for me was when I would go to my mat and when I would do yoga or I would do mindfulness movement. I don't want to be there long. You got me for maybe 15, 20 minutes. I may take a class, but if you gave me a list of classes like yoga, a dance, or something else, I want to go for the high energy because that just feels better to me. And I'm still going to come out feeling like grounded and at peace and feel good. But if you just really line up, but maybe on a day where I'm really shut and I just need to get quiet, then I can
Yeah.
get quiet. But knowing like in different seasons, it may change too.
I love that. I love the way you're saying it. And it is like if you're thinking about mindfulness as like a presence in what you're doing, and again, taking away all that noise, it
Yes.
makes sense that for some people, like slowing down and sitting on the yoga mat is actually going to be extremely challenging to turn off the noise. Whereas like turning on music, dancing, feeling their body, like may actually be an easier way to connect with that, or going on a walk and like having anchors to look at, right? Like you have things to
Yeah.
look at, and that's what's bringing you like into the present moment. Like there's so many ways we can do that. And I completely agree that the way we talk about mindfulness often feels like it has to be this quiet meditative state, which it can absolutely be, but that can be a lot harder to achieve and maybe not what we need. Like
Right.
it's
And it may not be what you need. I remember having this conversation and then doing a post about it, about like ways to get mindful in like your everyday activity. Cause I think it's something that can be worked in. So like you're washing your dishes. We're so quick to just be mindless and like
Mhm.
just kind of everywhere. I'm like, take 30 seconds to, okay, I'm washing this dish. What am I using? Like, is it a sponge? Is it soft? Is it wet? How does it feel? Is the water warm? Is the water lukewarm? Like, are there bubbles? Like just that brings you back into that present moment. And because we spend so much time, like we're thinking about what's next, we may be thinking about, oh, I should have done this. And even then that comes into that mom guilt. Oh, I didn't get this done. And our to-do list. And our minds are constantly running. And so just a little moment of folding laundry, throwing it out. Ooh, what does it smell like? And I hate doing laundry because it's never ending. But like I've started trying to be like, okay, while I'm folding, what color is it? What's it feel like? Like, oh, like the textures. Just that moment to bring myself back to what I'm doing, a little bit of being present, and then you just keep going with your day. It doesn't have to be like this grandiose thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can just be a nice bit of release. Coming and thinking about your breath. Just taking a moment to acknowledge that, be intentional about it. Our senses, like as we're walking throughout our day, like you said, like going on a walk and having the anchors you see. Many times we walk and we're kind of mindless. And so that's mindfulness. And that's something that we can all do like while we're, eating, mindful eating. It can be applied to anything. I really think when you see it and mindfulness is portrayed, it's like a certain person you see a certain, and so I don't think we have to be narrowed down to that box.
Yeah, completely agree. So I kind of want to just quickly lay out what the consequences are when we are not taking this pause because we're talking about like why it's important and what you can do, but like what happens when we're not taking this time for ourselves?
So we first off is like it first affects us. So we're starting to feel it. So where it can be burnout, that feeling of overwhelm, we get irritable. We can also start carrying all that stress in our bodies. I love my pause because it's also a way for me to manage my stress. And we know that when we keep stress in and we don't take care of it, that can cause chronic illnesses and it breaks down our immune system. But the other thing, and what it really makes me focus on, especially for mom, is when you choose not to do this, you're modeling this to your kids. And so without even knowing it, you're teaching them, hey, you know what? Maybe once you become a parent, your needs don't matter. Your time, your boundaries, that goes completely out the door.
Hmm.
The biggest mirror for me is my daughter. And I remember having a conversation, she was around 10. And I'm like, why are you trying to do all the things? And her response was literally, well, I see you do it. And it was like, oh, and realizing I'm teaching her even when I'm not teaching her.
Yeah.
So she sees it. And so think about it. If you don't want to take that time for you, for yourself, at least take it for your children and those around you because you don't want to just keep that cycle going of burnout and knowing that it's okay and that mommy's needs don't matter.
Yeah, they're going to get enough of that from the world
Every,
around them.
yes, yes. Start making those good choices in the home.
Yeah. So much goodness to take with us and apply to our lives. As we wrap up the conversation, I love asking guests about self-care specifically because I do think, as we've said, like there's so many misconceptions about what it means to take care of ourselves. I know you've talked a lot about the way that the pause is a way to take care of ourselves. It's a way to pour into ourselves. But I would love to just ask you how you take care of yourself regularly and just if you have any advice for moms to make sure that they are doing that regularly as well.
Yes. So I practice my pulse daily. I have my little, what I call my toolbox. So I love to journal. I'm going to get outside. I try to get outside every day. I'm choosing to practice gratitude, but I love to read. Reading is one of my pauses. Like like, give me a good book. But those check-ins, I will say probably one of the biggest things. And if mom listens, and the one thing I want you to do is start trying to check in with yourself daily. Whether that's when you first wake up, you can do it before you even put your feet on the ground. Like just lay there,
Hmm.
Take a deep breath. That feels good. We don't breathe enough intentionally. Like, check in. You have your heartbeat. You're here. Be grateful for that. And then just ask yourself, like, how am I feeling? Even if you just start there, if you can just name an emotion, don't judge it. Just, how do I feel today? And then if you want to take it a step further, what do I need? Like, do you need support? Do you need to ask someone for help? And that's one of the bravest things we can do as moms, is ask for help from the people around us. But that is one huge way to start. Take care of yourself, is like knowing where you are and what you need.
Yeah, that is so important. And it really ties back to everything we've talked about how individualized it is to take care of ourselves. You have to start with
Yeah.
like, how am I feeling and what is it that I need?
Yeah. And being okay with whatever that answer is.
Yes. Asia, where can listeners find you? I totally recommend anyone go follow you because you have such like, I don't know, these little moments that will just remind me as I'm scrolling, like, okay, wait, what are you doing for you? How are you pausing right now? So
Yeah.
let us know where to find you.
Yes, so you can find me on all socials. I'm Azia Ranea, so AZIARANEA. You can find me there, I'm like big green girl, big hair. So you can't miss me. So follow me there. In the link in my bio, you can also sign up for my newsletter. I send out tips, funny stories, all types of tools. But I just wanted to like just slow down. We don't have to stop. I know you've got things to do. To-do list is not going away. Just take a moment. Like, I'll sometimes just ask you, stop scrolling, breathe with me, then go about your day. That's all. So yeah. So follow me on social. I'm a real person. I like to talk. We'll talk about books and recipes, shows, all the things.
I love it. And again, completely recommend that you go follow Asia for sure. Great follow.
So thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, taking this time for sharing with us and just like inspiring us all to slow down a bit and really get intentional in our lives to make sure that we are pouring into ourselves.
Thank you.
I hope that everyone listening, that there's something in here that you can take immediately to your own life, whether that is one of these mindful actions you can take or just a little bit of a mindset shift to recognize the importance of pausing and taking time for yourself. I will see you back here next week for another episode of Worthy Mother Podcast. You are worthy, mama.